back to Dream World. This is Dream, your host, and today I want to be going over a series of stories that I've been wanting to share with people for a minute now. They're involving sleep paralysis, and if you don't know what sleep paralysis is, I can try to explain it in the best way that I can through my experiences that I have. So, for me, sleep paralysis is when you're in this mode of wanting to go to sleep, and your body necessarily does go to sleep, but your mind doesn't. So you can't move because your body is in the sleep state, but your brain is still constantly moving. Your brain is still constantly working as if you're in like a dream state. So you're seeing like these hallucinations, you're seeing these figures, you're seeing these moments, and you only have two reactions, to flight or fight. And because you can't fight, only thing you're really stuck with is just this gloomy fear. And so today would just be me kind of like explaining those moments in which I was stuck in like that moment of this glooming fear, and moment where I felt the most vulnerable is and that will have to be dealing with sleep paralysis. So stay tuned and definitely give me a like and subscribe. One of the earliest experiences I had with sleep paralysis had to be when I was in the 3rd grade. I suffered from a lot of nightmares then, and so when I started having like these sleep paralysis moments where I was in my room and I couldn't move or couldn't do anything, I would go to my sister's room, and so I was sleeping in her room. And so for some strange reason, I felt the most comfortable is in her room, just kind of being in her room. But one night I was in there and I was getting ready to go to sleep, and I think it was maybe 12 or 2 in the morning. And as I'm laying down, I began to feel myself kind of drip off into like this moment of like not being able to move and kind of panicking almost, So at this point, I'm like, this is a new experience for me. I dealt with nightmares. I never really dealt with necessarily being vulnerable to the point where if something was to happen, it would just be weird, And for me, it's like the surroundings of the room completely changed. It went from being like my sister's bedroom to being like an outside foresty type area with like plants and trees and flowers and things like that, and it was completely different from like what I was used to. It kind of came off as like a mystical forest almost, and so I started panicking, but I'm like, this is kind of like a good little scenery, So I'm like kind of like, okay, cool, it's a weird dream, but let me kind of go with it. And out of nowhere, I see this figure, and it kind of like emerges from behind the bushes, and I'm watching this this figure walk towards me, and it has like this punk in the head, and it kind of gives me like this freaking the jack-o'-lantern, or for the guy from off like Sleeping Hollow, if you still remember like that movie, or like the story of like the dude with the poker for the head. But it was him. And well, I guess like my imagination of what I perceive as him at the moment. So it comes over, and I'm still looking around like, is my sister's here? Do she see me? Like, where is she? Like, I'm used to her like jumping in and like beating up people for me. So I'm like, where is she? Like, can you beat up this pumpkin for me? Like, I can't move. So I'm looking around, and it comes up and it just looks at me. And it gives me like this look and kind of like fuzzes around my face a little bit, and then just like walks away. And in that moment, I kind of was like, run. So I like joked myself up. I woke up and the room changed. It was back to normal. My sister was laying at the foot, and I was laying at the head of the bed, and everything just seemed completely real. And that whole night, I just stayed up because I was just, at that point, I was just terrified. I never really had that type of experience. Growing up, we did a whole lot of moving. So one of the houses I definitely stayed in definitely gave me like this weird vibe almost. And so I remember one night I was like laying in the bed. We had bunk beds. So I remember me laying at the top and my little brother laying at the bottom of the bunk. And I remember me just kind of like trying to go to sleep. And I could remember like my body just kind of stiffening up, and me not being able to move, right? Just from like drifting into like sleep paralysis. That part, I had definitely developed a skill of knowing when I was drifting into these moments of like sleep paralysis. And so I can definitely feel myself drifting into like this moment of like me not necessarily being able to move or do anything for myself, but necessarily look and see what's happening around me. And so at the moment, I was only positioned in my bed in like an upright position. The only thing I can see is literally the ceiling because I'm in like the top bump of the bed. And so I'm seeing this pink flower that is like up above me, and I'm looking and I'm like, okay, this is interesting seeing, you know, like I know I'm supposed to be sleeping at this moment, but I feel very, very conscious. I feel like I'm woke at this moment, but I just can't move. I can't do nothing, you know? So I'm seeing this pink flower that's just like hovering above me, and out of nowhere, it just kind of like falls. And when it becomes into like, break to these petals, there's this huge spider that just falls. And I'm looking like, the crap? Like, what's happening? And this huge spider just falls, and I just completely wake up. And it was just weird for me because I definitely wasn't expecting a huge spider to just fall out of this beautiful pink flower. I'm thinking that it's definitely like maybe it could be a different experience with sleep paralysis where I could definitely just be like, could be a good experience with it, you know? I never really experienced one of those, but at that moment I was prepared to be like, this is a very pleasant experience with sleep paralysis. But it turned out that it wasn't, because I have a phobia of spiders, and spiders definitely scare me. So I definitely managed to go to sleep that night, but I definitely was like not really sleeping at the top bump anymore. I think not shortly after that, we definitely did away with the bunk beds, and I definitely was like on ground level. I wasn't messing with no spiders, and I had to deal with an evil cat. But that's a story for another time. Me and my evil cat. I miss my evil cat. Alrighty, so this is one that I was one of the most creepiest experiences with sleep paralysis that I definitely had growing up. It definitely made me. It was a decision making experience that I had with it. So I was in the 8th grade, and it was during a time where, you know, I wasn't out, but I was out. You know, so my family knew about me, but a lot of people necessarily didn't know what was necessarily going on. So I was dating this person, I was dating this girl, and you know, things, you know, I guess with her got kind of like serious almost, and I wasn't really like at that point. I'm in 8th grade, like I knew what I wanted to be at that point, but because of outside sources and, you know, outside influences, I definitely wasn't necessarily able to necessarily experience those at that moment, experience those feelings and those emotions at those moments. So I had this girlfriend, and things kind of got serious with her, and I was just kind of like, you know, trying to get away type thing like that, because at that point, like, I wasn't trying to hurt nobody's feelings on some stuff. So when we eventually did break up, it was something that, you know, I didn't want to do because I didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but, you know, it had to happen. And she definitely was like, you know, took it like, she took it, I don't know, like, I feel like she took it very like humble, and was just more like, you're still my boyfriend, and I just want to be like, if we can be together type thing. And I was like, alright, cool, let me pray on it. And when I said it, I was like, alright, I'm gonna be like, let me pray on it, and it's gonna be like a little joke almost. I'm not gonna really worry about it, you know. So I'm gonna come back next day and be like, yeah, I prayed on it, you know, I was told no, you know. And I was like, you know, got home, started thinking, like, you know, I'm young, but what I hear is that there's always this negative connotation around the lifestyle. So let me actually pray. It wasn't really a prayer, it wasn't really religious, not really religious at this moment now. So I was like, kind of like prayed on it for the first time. And for the most part, I was like, you know, let me know, give me a nightmare. I was like, give me a nightmare if you don't want me dating this girl. Give me a good, pleasant dream if you want me dating this girl. And I tell you, I had a nightmare. I didn't like it, not one bit. It scared me. It scared me. And so like pretty much it started off like I was laying in a bed, and at this point we was staying in the country. Like my parents moved a lot, so we stayed in the country. The room I was staying in was like brick wall. It was like pretty much the basement, but it was like a big basement. And I was like, all right, cool. I got a big room. I'm gonna do my thing in this room. You know, I'm having fun. You know, so I'm in the bed and I'm laying down, and I feel myself, like I said, drifting off. And it's a different type of drift off when you go into sleep paralysis and you're going to sleep. The drifting off I get into sleep paralysis is like this panicking type feel. Like my body is saying like, no, abort. When I'm going to sleep, it's like, relax, you know, calm down. So my body is telling me at this moment to abort, jerk, wake up. And I'm just literally like, too late this part. I'm just stuck. And if you ever saw the movie I Am Legend, the scene where the zombies or whatever you want to call them are constantly rushing at the stream, that's how it was. It was like, but without the stream, without the glass. So it was like these zombies are like rushing at me in my face constantly. And I'm just like in my cover like, you know, but at the same time I can't move. So I'm trying my best. And so I kind of like developed like this habit of like, if I can move one part of my body, it'd rather be my fist. So I'm like trying to swing because I'm like, no, y'all doing too much at this moment. But it was definitely a nightmare. And, you know, the next day, I had to let her know that I'm sorry, I had a nightmare. And that was the last girlfriend I ever had. So that was my experience with sleep paralyzation. I definitely hope that you enjoy my stories. If you have any comments, just leave in the comments for me. And you have a great day. This has been Dream's World, and my name is Dream.